Does now work? I think now should work. Oh, yeah, we need that other window. Is that it? Yes. And post it. I've got to go change some stuff on the website. My wife took down the campaign. Welcome back. Another After Hours. We are going to find out, well, not exactly what's in the box as advertised in the thumbnail, but can you stand there? I promise I won't bump into you. Just hang out right there. I'll try not to bump into you. I think I just posted this out on Facebook. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna try and watch the chat on my main monitor here, and also I am going to try and watch the chat on, I have a cell phone on a tripod today, so if I pull the video up, mute it and then watch the chat, we'll see how that goes. Okay. Let's move this out of the way some. And we will set that there so I can try and keep an eye on the chat. How does that sound? Alright, we got another one here. We are going to have to, sadly, we're going to have to order a part for this one. And what it is, I can't stress this enough. Try and pay attention when you are getting computers. Alright, what we got going on here is let me say this first. It is a sad day at the Intel camp. I don't often get to say that Intel, AMD, it doesn't matter, but then again it kind of does. Let's take some of these parts off of here. It's a sad day at the Intel camp. I am disheartened to report Intel inside. That is not an AMD A4, A6, A8, A10 stick. That's not an AMD sticker at all. That is, if it'll do some autofocus, that's an Intel sticker there, people. That is genuinely an Intel sticker. Sad day over at the Intel camp for us Intel fans, Intel fanboys. And what we've got here is a failure to communicate with the motherboard and the rest of the computer. Reason being, this is one of your budget-friendly big box laptops where they like to cut corners. You got no fan. You do have a little aluminum plate for a heatsink. I'm trying not to blind everybody. So here's where your processor and also your graphics are, because it's Intel, so it's going to be an Intel, probably a quad-core Celeron processor. I think it's a Celeron N. Let's look it up together, shall we? Is an HP 15F211WM, I believe. The F211WM. It isn't. That don't make sense. Is that what it is? Did I think I labeled that wrong. Let's check it out. No, it's a HP 15-F 211WM. For sure, that's what we're dealing with here. So, back over to our monitor. 15.6-inch touchscreen laptop. How much did this thing cost? Okay, so it's $469 laptop. That does not look one bit like the one that we have there. That looks like a newer model. Ours is not shiny, but if it is a touchscreen, 4 gigs of RAM, Celeron N2840. I knew it was not the Celeron N3060 or 3006. So Celeron. $28. I'm losing my brain here. Celeron N2840. 2840. What is this thing? A dual core with hyperthreading? So 2 cores, 2 threads. Essentially what Windows and other OSs would see as a quad core. How does it come? Okay. Intel HD graphics for Atom processors Z3700 series. How does this stack up? Now, the max memory it will recognize is 8 gigabytes. This computer here with this motherboard setup, where you have, you got your CPU generating heat, you have graphics in the CPU generating heat, no fan, a big chunk of aluminum. It doesn't power on, it's dead. That is the problem there. So we need to replace it, and I think, if I am not mistaken, we're going to replace it with this motherboard. This motherboard, nope, I lied. That's the AMD one. We're definitely not replacing that Intel with an AMD one. Yeah. Let's go back. 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 I had a tab that was very, very unresponsive. Wait, is this it? No, AMD. 150. Not near enough money. 15 series laptop. I will find it. HP 15 motherboard. I think i3. $4030U. I don't know that motherboard is an exact fit for what we're looking for. I think we need the 4100U or 4010U. 7100U. I know it was an expensive motherboard. It was like $152. i3 7100U laptop motherboard. Wrong shape. There it is, $154. So let's do some comparison in the shape of the motherboard. And when you're trying to do a motherboard swap in a laptop. Now, we don't have the parts, so we're not going to do this repair today. But when you're trying to do a motherboard swap in a computer like this, there's quite a few things you need to look at. You're going to have to look at the positions of basically every port, every bit of I/O, where you would plug in your Ethernet, HDMI, USB. Also, your RAM slots, are they going to fit in if you happen to get a motherboard that isn't a cut corner one and you're going from one RAM slot to two? Will it fit in the case that it's in? You're going to need to look at all the inputs for plugging in your ribbon cables on the motherboard, and also there's a couple other things. If I don't mention them now, I will eventually mention them. One of them being where your LCD plugs in, and then you'll have another port where your webcam plugs in, so you got to make sure those are compatible. Also, is the laptop that you have, if it's a touchscreen, is the motherboard that you're putting into it out of a touchscreen laptop? That matters. If it's not, if you're going from a touchscreen to a non-touchscreen motherboard, or if you're going from a non-touchscreen to a touchscreen motherboard with the upgrade that you want to do for the replacement, you're going to need to get a different LCD, because the LCDs that do not have a glass digitizer over them, like it's just an LCD screen, it's a screen by itself, meaning it's not the LCD screen behind a glass digitizer panel. They're not stacked up in the display for the laptop. You're going to have to get a different display. They're wired up differently. On some of them are 30 pin, some of them are 40 pin, the mini LED connectors. So those are some of the things to look at. Also, if you're going from a motherboard that has this garbage solution for cooling, that, I'm not saying all laptops, but the majority of our laptops that are 3rd, 4th generation Intel up, and around the same time AMD and up that are dead, they have cooling like this. That is the majority of laptops that are dead here. They have a lot of cooling solutions like this with no fan. I don't know what it is. They consider them ultralight mobile processors, and they don't need any types of cooling. I don't know. So if you're going to add a motherboard with, say, we're going from a Celeron to a Core i3 4010U CPU, we're going to need a heatsink and fan combination, vapor chamber, all that does not fit the screw pinout of the old processor. The new one will have here, and let's try and do a quick direct comparison. So we're going to put this motherboard in the same orientation as that one, which would be, okay, so we're looking at a motherboard like this. You can't see it because of this metal plate covering it, but I promise you, look here, we have the RAM slot, and we're going to 2 RAM slots on the one that is on screen. Okay, that's the comparison. It is the same shape. The battery connector's in the same spot. All the cutouts are the same. All these ports are the same. Our SATA port, both USBs, the HDMI, the Ethernet port, everything is laid out properly. However, if you take a look right here at, let's take a look at that, where the processor is, it's bigger. The processor itself is bigger than the whole mount down point. It's about the same size as where we mount this cooling solution down. So as well as getting the motherboard, you're going to need to get the proper fan for that series motherboard that will mount down, or the heatsink that mounts down the fan that goes with it. And on this motherboard, since they don't have a fan and this is their cooling solution, generally somewhere about in here is where they'll have a fan connector. Let's take a look on screen at the processors there. Okay, right there will be this black cable. You can't really, I can't put my mouse on it, but if anybody can tell the difference, it is right about where my mouse is pointing in that white box. If you just look at the same spot, the black one, okay? The black one, basically right over from where it says, right over and up a little bit to the right. Go to the right and up, that black port is where your fan will plug in, and it is a 4-pin fan header. That's another bit of research that you want to do. So you got to get the right fan, the right heatsink. Make sure it's a 4-pin fan and not a 3, because there will probably be both. That's another thing you need to look at. And also, when going from one of these ultralight mobile processors, more than likely your battery, when you get the new motherboard installed, is not going to be recognized or charged. Why is that? You can do a check on your battery to see what it is. The thing I've ran into quite a few times is why the battery is not recognized and will not charge is because it's a battery that's made for the ultralight mobile processor series. It's a 3-cell battery, meaning there will be 3 cells in here with 1 slot blank where there is no battery. So it'll be a shorter, smaller watt-hour battery. You're going to need to also get another battery if you're going to do a motherboard upgrade in one of these HP 15 laptops or something by another manufacturer. So we'll need a 4-cell battery that has all the same mounting points where it slides in and latches. So that's a pretty big list. You got to match up the ports, check the RAM slots, match the I/O on the side, find the fan and heat sink the proper one with the proper fan connector so it gets power, a different battery. Did I name it all? I think I got it all. So yeah, sad day at Camp Intel. Let's get this out of the way and get to the non-clickbaity promised thumbnail. It's not clickbait. We do have a box here. A box that I've been waiting on for a long, long time. Now, is the upgrade necessary? No. Could we replace the motherboard in this laptop with the same junk Celeron motherboard that has a little plate of aluminum for a cooling solution? Yes, we could. Is it going to be new? Quite possibly. More than likely used, if not used, maybe refurbished, or possibly new. But will it suffer the same fate? More than likely, yes. Eventually it will. Upgrading it to a different motherboard. A better solution? Yes. A little bit more expensive? Yes. But you're taking and going from a laptop that was, what, in the $400 range up to something with a bit, worth a bit more, going to get a bit more performance out of it. We got a box. We've been waiting on this one for a while. Let me get back on my YouTube tab so I can see if there's anybody there commenting. I don't think there is. No comments yet. Okay. What this is, if I'm not mistaken, just pay attention, I may take and make a liar out of myself. This should be, and this is well packaged. Who sent me this? Obviously who I ordered it from, but let's see who sent it. I'm not even going to try and pronounce your name, but who is this? China Post? Yeah, China Post, you got it here. And Zia Keke 2707. I love looking at addresses from foreign lands, foreign countries. They're laid out just, I mean, kind of like ours, but not really. So much different. Thank you for getting my package to me eventually. This should be for a Samsung SyncMaster monitor that is taking up a lot of counter space. I want to get it back together, powered up, and back onto its stand. If this box here, if it makes my monitor work, which is hopefully the idea here. Some of the power rails were wrong when testing the board over there in the old monitor. When testing the power board, there was power that was not there that should have been, and some of the power that was there was not right. It was either over the voltage or under the voltage. Testing it like that tells me something was probably wrong with it when throwing the multimeter on it, so I hope this fixes it. If not, we will get proper power back to the monitor and continue fixing from there. Wow, that's loud. Okay, we're not going to rip tape, we're going to cut it. This kind of reminds me of like a bomb or like a kilo of something wrapped up the way this is packaged in tape. Kind of crazy. Okay. I hope what I said it is, yes, okay, that is what I'm looking for. Brand new? I don't know that is brand new. I don't know what kind of rating I would give that. It doesn't look, the components don't look aged, like they've had electric pulsing through them, and wow. Well, my power plug's bent, hopefully not broken, loose. Everything should be soldered in place. Oh no, it just didn't clip through all the way. Okay. It doesn't look like electricity's been surging through this thing, generating heat for a long time, like the one that's currently in the monitor does. So I will give it that. And these ones that take weeks and months to get to you, okay, I'm thinking either they're sending them over on the slowest boat ever created, like maybe they're paddling them here in a canoe themselves when you order them, or they're literally retooling some of their equipment and remanufacturing these when you get some of these outdated power boards and video boards, sound boards for TVs. I don't know. Anyhow, let's go ahead, get this cleaned up, and hopefully get this monitor to turn on without any issues, any further issues, I will say. So we'll set that out of the way, and we'll grab our paperwork. And just an idea of when this was ordered. So this was ordered last year. Toward the beginning of December. And this is what? The next last week of January. So over a month. Over a month. Oh wow, that's a big monitor. Alright. I think we'll go above. Now if we zoom, you kind of get a view of the monitor. You kind of get a view of it. Let me go ahead and readjust here on my new work mat. Okay, so we've got this here, and this is indeed the one we're replacing. Watch me zap myself live on camera. How great is that going to be? Oh, you people are sick, rooting for me to get zapped. Okay, and what I mean by heat going through it and pulsing, can you see the discoloration in the board? Can you see the discoloration in the center of this board? When you compare the two, I would hope you could see a direct difference, that board is much darker toward the center than the one on top. You can see it's darker in the center than the one on the bottom. So please be a fix for the monitor. I do have to get the screws for this, but we're going to go ahead. We'll zoom in and see about getting this set in place. What do we need to plug in? 2 cables here. This will go to the monitor, and then we have these two to plug in there. We'll go ahead and do that now, and then rock the whole thing into place and get it screwed down and reassembled and hopefully powered on. If we do this without me shocking myself, that's going to be a win. I will count that as a win if I don't zap the heck out of myself on this one. Okay. Yeah, that port that was not snapped in all the way there is kind of being a nuisance now, but we have a few screws here. I know at least one of them, if I don't have two. One is this one, and it's going to hold down one of these spots. Alright, let's go ahead and look at these. Okay, I think that is all we need out of that pile. There's probably one or two more. Indeed there is. We'll need those two. So there's those two, those two. I think I'm missing one long screw, and if I am, that's my fault for losing it. I do remember knocking one off of the counter. If I picked it up and put it over here, possibly, but yeah, it's not there now. And hopefully I didn't. There we go. That's another screw. That's another screw. I'm not sure, but we're gonna pull all these machine screws out that could quite possibly hold my monitor together. And hopefully not break any of the audio cables going into the recorder. Okay, it is a random batch of screws that I have there. I'm going to take a quick look and see if I possibly set screws anywhere else. I don't think I did. Alright, let's see. We need... how many? Okay, so we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tie-down points. Let's set this out of the way. Oh, guess what? Guess what? We got to switch away from it to deactivate it. My camera froze. Okay. So right now we need to figure out alright, no. So this one does go in this front right corner. Alright, good enough. And then we should have those. Do they fit there? It looks like they want to, but yes, no, maybe. Right, let's get our screwdriver and find out if these are going to thread in. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 of that same size. A big one, and 1, 2, 3 of the same size. I do believe I lost the fourth one. The other ones are for the back, and that is a random screw with possibly another random screw. This is what happens when you tear stuff apart and don't bother putting it back together until months later. Alright. That will go out the top, and then we're going to have one plug in there, and then some power plug into the other side. Perfect. I like it. We're going to make sure something gets screwed in there, and there, these two, and definitely this one. I kind of refuse to believe that they would put a screw that big into something like this. It does have the same machine threads, but we're not gonna fall for it and go with that one. Get out of the way, washer. Okay. We got 1, 2, 3, I'm not going to work on that one. We may need a different screw. Let's find out. Okay, so not exactly tightening down. This don't look like any of these screws are the right screws, to be honest. This thing was torn apart before I had got my hands on it. Could the wrong screws be in the thing? Would that make it not go back together properly? More than likely. Do these thread? And they do. So, let's say we pull short little screws. Short little wrong screws, I might add. Alright, well, that's as good as we're going to get. I know not. I hope that that's going to plug in there. And if it does, is it going to be right? Probably not. No, not a chance. But we'll try it. It was the only one of the screws that was setting with all these other ones. Yeah, not on this menu. Afraid not today. So let's go ahead and get the strip off. We can go ahead and put our last remaining little screw in that corner to hold that grounding strap down. Alright, it's down. Sure is. Okay. Let's start the reassembly process of this. Alright, we're plugging in the cable from our power board over to our audio video board, and then we have power wires that, well, these go out to speakers, and then I'm guessing one goes out to the capacitive touch buttons on the monitor itself. Now, where do you go? Right there? And you do. Okay. Wow. No faith that is going to stay right there. Let's see about putting the back on this thing. We are missing one. Okay, so outwardly We're missing 2 screws. I'm gonna have to go online and see if I can get a set of screws for this actual monitor. Alright, that's back together. Now we will throw the back on our monitor. Luckily the screws stay locked in this one, this part of it, so we didn't lose any of those. And we have 2 screws to put into the bottom to hold the outer case of this thing together. I will definitely be looking online though to see if I can get a set of screws for this thing. Not having them all in makes me a little nervous, especially when one of them is a ground screw. Is it necessary? I don't know. I don't know how that stuff works. But if I can replace them, I know I will. I want to. Screws missing and screws left over. Not really my thing. Not something I dig. Not my desired end result. So we have 2 of the 4 screws holding it together on the bottom. The rest of it, believe it or not, just snaps together. So let's find out. Will it power on? You know what? I don't know. I hope so. We are going to spin this thing and get a power cable for it. Hopefully without having to roam too far. Yeah, right. Come on. What are you doing, wires? You're all in the way. Alright, we have a suitable thick enough gauge power wire. Let's go ahead and get this plugged in and see if we can get some power. Hopefully. If not, then we will continue our project on another day. Okay, well, last time with the other power board in, and I really don't want to do a tear down, I would just get a barely flashing blue power light here. So what's going to be the best way to do this? We do have an HDMI input, we have a DVI input, and a VGA. Maybe we will run a third input off of my 1050 Ti to test it. Why not? We'll do this live on the air and see if it crashes the whole stream. More than likely, will it? I don't know. This is new ground for me. I don't know what you can and can't do while you're live streaming. However, one thing I know we can do is we can get our, we have a picture on screen. We can get our display port for going into the graphics card to HDMI adapter out. Someone that makes quality adapters that I've used over the years is Benfei. I love their adapters. That is, if I can show it with it focusing, probably not. That is the company's name, Benfei. Great quality. I like it. I use it. Let's go ahead and get this rigged up. Do we plug into the stream computer? Do we plug into the stream computer, or do we go to another computer? You know what? I really don't want to crash the stream. But alright, we're not gonna attempt crashing the stream. I lied. Sorry about that. We're gonna plug into my Dell laptop, which I also happen to have here to see. Alright, we have our HDMI. Here, I'm gonna have you guys back up and stand right there. Hopefully I won't bump into you there. Just try and stay still. Don't jump around a whole bunch, okay? Okay? Alright, thanks. Alright. Boy, we were running out of room for this project. Every time I have company over, you guys take up lots of room. Alright, we backed it up a little. We'll drop our display down. We've got our power cable. We're going to go ahead and open up the Super Dell. Let's power it on. Power to the Dell. Nice try. We're not giving away the pin number. Not yet. Not yet. Alright, we're going to let it boot up here. And with any luck, this thing is going to work. This thing's going to work again, hopefully. It needs cleaned up, desperately. It needs a set of screws, most importantly. I don't like screws not being in at all. Okay, so we have a display. Let's plug in our cable. Bang. Bam, son. Bam, son LCDs coming soon. Alright, now let's go ahead and, well, display settings. It seems to be working. It is detecting duplicate displays. Let's go ahead. All that time and you want to beep on me. Let's extend them. Let's try that. Yeah, we'll keep the changes. Okay. So now we're going to go back up on the laptop. We will go to the other monitor and we're going to go down and see what the resolution is on this guy. 1920 by 12 recommended. We can pull 1080 if we want, but 1920 by 12 is the res. Okay, so we have a fairly decent sized screen here. Working again. I'm going to go ahead and get it cleaned up. I think that's that for that after hours. Thanks for helping me fix the monitor, guys, girls. Just don't pull a nick and do anything out of the ordinary, out of question, or dangerous. No, I don't think that I don't think the Chinese or whoever sent that to me would juice that board up with power and then mail it, and I don't think the power would stay. So, dangerous, no. But when you are playing with, no jokes, all jokes aside, when you are playing with a power board such as these, okay, and you've had them plugged in real recently, you can tell where the no-no stuff is, because usually they will have a divider line on the board, and one side will say cold, the other side will say hot, and anything that is not on the hot side that may still be hot even though it's on the cold side, they will literally take, and let's try this one. They will literally take and draw. It's not going to work. These cameras hate me. They will write the word hot and draw an arrow from the word hot to the hot component. If it's hot temperature wise, or hot like electricity wise. So yeah, when messing with power boards out of TVs, monitors, and such, be very careful if you're going to get into that. I'm not a professional. Oftentimes I don't know what I'm doing. I fault find by testing for power rails, testing for continuity, testing for a multitude of other things. However, if you know how to read schematics, know how to read some of the what looks like gibberish on these, or you can decipher the color codes with a little bit of Googling and common sense on some of these resistors and the capacitors, all that. If you can Google that stuff, you can find out what it is, and if you have a general idea and some common sense, you'll know what is dangerous. But yeah, don't play around with anything that you're not familiar with. Don't go using metal on it, poking around with anything that is not well insulated except the tip if you're using a test probe to test points between it. And especially if you were working on old CRT monitors, cathode ray tubes, if you're working on those, you're probably going to be well experienced with it. Do not mess with those. I don't know if I'm pretty sure they can kill you, but if they can't kill you, they can seriously, seriously hurt you. The old CRTs, even the old flat screen CRTs where the screen was flat, but it was still a big cathode ray tube TV in a box. Yeah, some of that stuff is real dangerous. So, thanks for hanging out and helping me fix a monitor today. Got our hands a little dirty. We'll be back again tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Thursday? Thursday, I think we should do this as a project. I don't know if I can squeeze this into open hours, and if I can't, well then we're gonna have to do it late night after hours. This is an HP stream. The problem with it, other than the apparent tube missing blue stick-on rubber feet that are replaced by these black ones that are not the right size. The other problem with it is it has a 32 gig, and I think I may have said this, but it kind of glossed over and didn't really say much, is this computer has a 32 gig eMMC Windows boot drive. Sorry about the glare there. So after you get Windows 8 or 8.1 installed on it, and updates and whatever ran, there is not much room for other stuff. And Windows 8 and 8.1 is kind of meh, you know, like, yeah, no, but I don't want to run Windows 8 or 8.1. I have no use for it. And if you upgrade this from Windows 10 or directly put an install of 10 on it, right away, 25-30 seconds into booting to a desktop, your touchpad stops working. And I tried every driver from every post I could find on this thing to get a working driver for it, okay? No working driver. This is something light. You want to be able to take it with you. Yes, if you need a mouse, you can use it. Plug it in USB or Bluetooth. But if you want to use the touchpad, the trackpad, yeah, you can't. Not with Windows 10. So we are going to see if we can put Linux on this blue HP Streambook. And Linux, I'm not saying, oh boy, I'm not saying like Ubuntu. We may go a little tougher with Debian. We may go a little bit tougher yet with like either Slackware or Arch. If we want to go real crazy, we'll try Gentoo. However, I don't think there's going to be any support for Gentoo on it. I think the good happy medium would be like Slackware or Arch Linux. On this, we'll build our own Arch system. We'll get the basic Linux tools installed, and then go ahead and put on something to put up a wallpaper, get our terminal, like a quick launch terminal. Boy, I got a phone buzzing somewhere. Dang, what was that? Huh. Anyhow, yeah. Anybody that isn't familiar with Arch Linux, archlinux.org, I encourage you to go check it out. It follows the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. And by simple, that's simple not for your average person computer user. Basically, keep it simple for your average system administrator, or somebody that likes a more hands-on approach other than Windows or Mac. Anyhow, see you tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate the help on the Samsung monitor. Good work. Thank you. And I will see you then. Have a good evening, everybody.